Hey there, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Mariana and I interview the brightest minds of physical therapy. So if you want to increase your knowledge, start right now by subscribing to this channel, clicking on the bell so you don't miss anything, give us a thumbs up and share with your friends. Today our guest is Dr. Dave Kittle, and he's going to talk about marketing and sales in physical therapy. Dave is the CEO and founder of Concierge Pain Relief, home physical therapy, and partner at Cash-Based Physical Therapy. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hi Dave, welcome to PT Pro Talk. How are you today?
I'm great, Mariana. Thank you very much for having me.
And let's jump right in. Our topic today is gonna be marketing sales on a private practice. So let's start. Just tell us a little bit about your background, your story, your career. How did you get to where you are right now?
Sure. So I'm a licensed physical therapist. I went to school at the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia, worked a couple years in New Jersey in outpatient orthopedics. And then when I got engaged to my now wife, Annie, who's also a physical therapist, I had relocated and moved to Brooklyn, New York, worked a couple years in outpatient orthopedics as well, and home care and home health as well. Since then, I had gone out on my own, started Concierge Pain Relief, home physical therapy, and we are mostly an out-of-pocket, private pay, cash-based practice with a little bit of out-of-network insurance. And along that route, I had met up with one of my previous podcast guests, Ron Miller, from about 4 or 5 years ago. He was on our podcast, which is called PT Tech Talk. So we were kind of talking about technology and business and marketing stuff around the physical therapy world. And he had a company called Cash-Based Physical Therapy.org. And I started helping him with that a little bit on the sales and marketing side and some of his e-courses. And now we also help and coach physios and physical therapists across North America to help them attract and retain patients to pay out of pocket, even when they're not necessarily looking to pay out of pocket. And so we teach a lot of those topics, and there's many other coaches across the U.S. that are great as well that do similar stuff. But Ron and I, we teach a lot of those foundational marketing and sales strategies that obviously none of us learned in physical therapy school. So that's kind of a segue into the topics that you and I are speaking about today. Hopefully I can provide some value to you and to your audience, and look forward to the conversation.
Awesome. So let's talk about marketing. We know it's a big challenge for most PTs that are starting their private practices. And how do you think PTs should go about getting more prospective clients? And is there any strategy, anything you recommend?
So one thing off the bat, when you speak about marketing, and we're having, Mariana and you and I are having a conversation about marketing because you said you're going to go out on your own and continue to start and grow your own practice, and as well as anyone else listening. So with marketing, there's 2 tracks. Marketing is either going to be free, meaning free strategies, free tactics or hacks or plans or systems, whatever you want to call it. Free, but it takes time and effort. It's either going to take time and effort from you personally, or if you outsource that to some other person to do some form of marketing. And then there's paid, which takes less time and effort, meaning you can potentially get more people, you can potentially get your business in front of more people faster, but it's paid, meaning you have to have a budget, you have to pay out of pocket. There's a little bit more risk in terms of some of the paid marketing efforts may not be fruitful and may not pay off right away. So you got to do some trial and error. And so when we talk about marketing, you just want to start with, there's 2 tracks, free and paid. Free is what I do through Google Ads. That's a lot of what we do, but it's more for a mature business. For someone like yourself who's starting off, you want to look at the free component, which takes more time and effort. And by that, the fastest, easiest thing to do that's free, Mariana, for you and for anyone else listening, is to have the most amount of conversations in person, digital conversations, text message chats, email conversations with people in your community. Now, I know COVID has affected that as we're kind of getting out of COVID, more people are vaccinated. Hopefully that becomes easier for you and the rest of the audience. But this is what chiropractors learn that physical therapists do not learn, which is they are taught in chiro school, they're taught that the more people they meet and the more conversations they can have in their local community, the faster they will grow and the more success they will have, because they go from obscurity, not being known, to having some level of awareness and being known in whatever community, wherever you live. You're in Nashville, I'm in New York City, anyone else listening, regardless of what state you're in, it doesn't matter. And so in a nutshell, that's how you want to look at and approach marketing. Free versus paid. In the beginning, a startup, you're bootstrapping, minimal budget or less of a budget, you're less willing to take risks. There's a lot of free ways. One is just get out there and talk to as many people as possible, support local businesses, go to, maybe get 2 or 3 different gym memberships so you can meet other people, meet the gym owners, they might send you patients, go to yoga studios, Pilates studios, get out there and just meet people that already have a following and network. And maybe you could tap into their network, ethically, morally over time, because they get to know you. And it's just like patients. No one's going to pay us out of pocket unless they know us, like us, and trust us. And it's similar to people referring potential clients to us in the future, whether, local business owners. They're not going to do that unless they know us, like us, and trust us. So that's kind of like, that's where I wanted to kind of jump off today in regards to just speaking about marketing and laying some of the groundwork for any other of the conversations we'll have today.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's something that relatively easy. You just got to be willing to put the work and, I don't know, go sign up, maybe offer workshops, webinars, and try to get to know more people and build the relationships, right? And I have a question now then. And for the telehealth ones, the same strategy applies, you think? Because we are doing virtually, not like in person?
There is similar where you could have, start a free YouTube channel, start putting out YouTube videos. Let's just say after this conversation, you say to me, hey, Dave, can I have 3 minutes of your time and just make up a fake, we're talking Mackenzie in the pre-interview. So let's just say make up a fake diagnosis that I have neck pain. And then you hit the record button and then you take me through a quick, chin tuck, posture correction, MDT, Mackenzie approach, either an evaluation component or a treatment component. You save that, you upload it to YouTube. Then it's on YouTube publicly with your name, your business name, the local area of Nashville where you live, zip code, whatever. Then you can put it on Facebook. You can disseminate it out. You could have people in your local area reshare it, and then it reaches more people, all that in a few minutes. So you can create, evergreen content that way. And those are just some things that physical therapists need to continue to get better at in terms of being creative. But specifically for your question about telehealth, you could have, a website with, I have to put in my name into my email. So I have to opt in and I get to see a 60-minute low back pain evaluation and treatment that's done virtually. And then that's on your website as an asset for anyone to see, even when you're sleeping, even when you're doing podcast interviews. Someone else could opt in, you get their name and their email and maybe their phone number as a prospective patient because they're somewhat interested in what you do. But then I could watch you take me or take a real patient or a fake patient, family member or a friend, take them through a treatment, take them through an evaluation. What does this look like? What does virtual physical therapy look like? People now get it more because of COVID. Prior to COVID, there weren't that many people doing it. And I know, by the way, I have to say shout out to David Grigsby, who referred me and connected us for this podcast. Shout out David Grigsby, who's in the Tennessee area, right?
Yes, he's in Memphis.
In Memphis, right. So he's been doing telehealth at least since like 2014, maybe even before that. But I know he's been doing it for many years. And he's had patients, did he tell you the story? He's had patients from Japan and other countries contact him for virtual treatment. And so for you, there's a few suggestions right there. You could just record videos, get patient consent, get client consent, to get some therapeutic exercise or evaluation or some virtual treatment session, and then you could have it online. You could have it on YouTube. You could have it on Facebook. You could put it on LinkedIn. I know you post on LinkedIn as well. You could have it on your website. And then more people that interact with you and see you can realize, oh, wow, so this physical therapist, Mariana, here's how she could help me. And not only that, she can help me remotely. She can help me over telehealth. And here's what it looks like. I already got to see her interact with a patient or a client or a pseudo patient. So then they start to know you, like you, and trust you. And then they're potentially more likely to take you up on your offer, which is the telehealth out of pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all these strategies are great. I've done something similar with that you mentioned. And I think it's just especially for people that have no idea what is virtual physical therapy, then they can really see it and feel more real or have a better idea of exactly what they're going to do. So I think that's great. And I want to ask you about the paid marketing then. So what are the ones that you recommend that you think that if you have a budget and you are starting out, that you should definitely invest?
As many things in physical therapy, I got a quick say, it depends. And here's why it depends, right? So most consumers, when they think of physical therapy, they think of an office. They less likely think of what I do, which is in person, in home, meaning we go to our clients. We have people that call us all the time, and then they're asking, where are we located? We're like, we're not located anywhere. We come to you. We don't have an office, right? And the consumers are even less likely to want and desire and look and search and Google for what you offer, unfortunately. It's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a process where you want to look at how much demand through Facebook or through Google are people looking for virtual physical therapy or video physical therapy. I mean, you could look through the ads manager from both of those dashboards, the Google ads or Facebook ads, and you should be able to see, are people in your area, have they been clicking on videos, or have they been interacting with accounts or other things on those platforms that have to do with video visits, telehealth, whatever those keywords and phrases are. So the difference now, Facebook ads and Google ads are very good. I spend a ton of money on Google ads and I spend less money on Facebook ads. It doesn't mean Facebook ads cannot work. With people that are on Facebook, they're scrolling. So they're in entertainment mode. They're in escapism mode. That's their frame of mind as they're doing that. And then your ad pops in front of them about telehealth and sciatica, virtual physical therapy for headaches or neck pain or whatever it might be. So you have to get them out of escapism, entertainment mode. I'm just here to look at pictures and videos and laugh and just exit my normal actual life. And you're trying to interrupt that. So for me, that's why I spend more money on Google ads, because I'm targeting people that are typing in-home physical therapy Manhattan, in-home physical therapy New York City, best in-home physical therapy company, whatever, like all those different variations of phrases. Doesn't mean Facebook ads cannot work for this, especially for you with telehealth. I don't know the answer to that. It might be good for you to try and check that out on your own, or have someone potentially run ads for you. But as a bootstrapping company, sometimes a little bit more challenging to pay someone to do that. So then you have to learn it yourself. But those are some of the things that I would look at before even spending money on any ads. Is you should be able to see what types of clicks, what type of trends, what type of words and keywords and phrases are used in those two different ads managers in regards to how many of those people are looking for that in Nashville, Tennessee, where you live. And let's just say maybe you'll find out that, more people are looking for those keywords in rural areas of the US and the South because things are spread out more. Maybe more people are looking for that. Or maybe more people are looking for it actually in New York City and not in Nashville because COVID hit New York City hard, and some people don't want to go out of their apartments and they want or they want a virtual telehealth physical therapist. So those are the things you would find out. going through the ads manager and kind of seeing, are there trends here? How much homework and due diligence can you perform before you start putting, hundreds or thousands of dollars behind some type of a paid ad campaign?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's a good tip to just try to look it up. And then you find out that they're not looking for what you're offering. Then you're like,
right.
Well, now I got to figure out what else. But that's the good part of telehealth, because then I can target the whole state. And then if it doesn't work, or if you don't see that people are really looking for that type of treatment, you can hopefully have the PT compact, then you can go and try in other states, or that's the advantage of doing virtually, right?
Right.
And so we talked about the free marketing, these workshops, and then you talked about pay marketing. Anything else that you have to add here to this marketing part? Maybe we see a lot of PTs like on social media, people posting exercises or videos, or do you have any thoughts on like social media? The importance of doing that? Should we do, should we not do? I heard people saying like, oh, don't put exercise out there. Others say, no, you have to add some value. So how, as PTs, we can add value, but at the same time, you can promise, do this exercise, and then it's for back pain, and then, but everyone is a different individual. So I think it's a little complicated on social media. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So it definitely works. I know a lot of owners and a lot of colleagues that do that. They'll put out videos, they'll put out educational tips, tips and tricks and things that clients can do on their own. You can write a little disclosure that releases you of any liability if they get hurt doing so, or something like that. And, it could say, speak to your, seek an in-person or a consult with a healthcare provider prior to engaging in any treatment, self-treatment, exercise program, whatever. You can kind of make sure you have some type of a release, basically, either in the caption of the post at the bottom, or in the video, you can edit it in or whatever. I think that we can continue to win and get more awareness as a profession with putting more information out there, because otherwise other people are going to do it. Chiros are doing it. Personal trainers are doing it. There's a lot of turf battle. There's a lot of overlap in what we all kind of are trying to do, which is help people with their health and wellness and get them back to normal, or help them achieve their goals in life. So the more that we can put out, I think the better. I personally don't. And one reason is because as of right now, I don't have a brick and mortar office where I can, over time, continue to get awareness of Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, where I live. A lot of people may not know what we do here. One reason is because I'm trying to see less patients myself, and I'm trying to have my physical therapists, my team members, see my patients, right? So, and we cover New York City, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, Bronx, Brooklyn. And so I'm trying to cover a wider radius than if I had a brick and mortar office. If I had a brick and mortar office, like Ron Miller, my colleague, they do a ton of social media. So they will do exercises and stretches, and here's how to do this, here's how to do this. If you're having pain with XYZ, try this, stretch or this self technique at home. The reason why that can work, some people, the naysayers will say, oh, well, if you teach someone how to do some of these things and they get better on their own, then they're not going to come in and treat you. So they're not going to come in, or they're not going to take you up on a telehealth visit because they're getting better. That's a little short-sighted. It's easy to think that way, and I get it, but it's a little short-sighted. Here's why. If you have a video that goes out and someone sees it and let's just say they do chin tucks and it takes away their neck pain or something, right? In the short term, you're going to lose out on that plan of care that person may have come to you. They also may not have ever come to you at all. But if you have a piece of content that helps them and they get better, or they feel a little bit better, they're going to sing your praises to many other people, word of mouth marketing that you cannot pay for, right? So they might tell you that they're going to be at, a friend's birthday party in 3 weeks, or they'll be at some event, or they'll be out somewhere at a restaurant, and someone's going to complain about something, or that they have a headache or migraine or neck pain or something, right? And they're going to say, you should speak with Mariana, or you should look up her website or her social media account, go see this person. And that word of mouth marketing is gold. You can't pay for that. You can't pay that person enough to genuinely speak about you at some other event or some other interaction, right? So that's where a lot of PTs can win. It's short-sighted to say, I'm going to lose out if I virtually help people just by putting content out there, and I don't get any of the patients coming in to pay me for actual consults and visits, right?
Yeah.
A lot of PTs get a big following, whether it's followers, website hits per month. They can get a lot of followers and a lot of awareness and a bigger audience. And the bigger audience you have, the more likely you're going to have a big pipeline of potential people that are looking to do business with you. They know that you can help them. And because of those pieces of content that you may have put out there, they've already started to like you, know you, and trust you. And they'll be more likely to, pay you whatever it is that you charge to work with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And now one more question about marketing, because as you start to talk, I start to think about it. And then another one came.
Sure.
So we see a lot of PTs trying to go after doctors' referral. And we know that that's the limited amount of people that they see that they're going to refer to PT. So is everybody fighting over these referrals? So what is your thought on that?
It's changed. If you're aware of the past 5 or 10 years of ACOs, accountable care organizations, and a lot of this consolidation by hospital practices, hospital health systems buying up the mom and pop physician offices and converting them into basically satellite offices for the big health systems. So over the past 5, 10, 15, whatever years, more of these health systems have been buying up a lot of these physician offices across the US. Inherently, what has happened is those physicians may have had a relationship with a physical therapy practice for 10, 20, 25 years, 30 years. And the physicians say, hey, I'm sorry, I got bought out, or I sold, or, Mount Sinai or Lenox Hill or, NYU Langone came and, I sold my practice, and they sign contracts where they literally cannot refer to an independent physical therapy company. And this happens in almost every state, as far as I know, in the US, where they're actually contracted to keep the referrals in-house, in-network, and then those health systems will have outpatient physical therapy offices either at the hospital or at a satellite location. And so that's already been happening. And that's another reason why we need to continue to just be completely obsessed with marketing. And I think marketing is just basically, how can you get in front of more people, and how can you have more conversations and meet more people? So by doing that, we can continue to focus on marketing direct to consumer. So whether that's Facebook ads, whether it's Google ads, YouTube ads, it's, like you said, in-person or virtual talks, webinars, workshops, demonstrations, demos. Like, there's a bunch of different words for it. For you doing telehealth, you could have it, virtually, and you could have it on your website. You could try to, have it put on other people's website or other social media accounts, to continue to focus on direct access and marketing direct to consumer. And then the issue of the physician referrals, it won't be an issue anymore. And we have to rely on ourselves and not rely on the original gatekeepers, which is what physical therapy has always done for the previous, 20, 30 plus years. Yeah,
absolutely. Because we have so many people to treat, so many people need our services. And I think that's the point, is try to go straight to the consumer, final consumer, and try to provide them value and build trust and go that way, than relying on referrals that I think that's becoming more and more common. That's what I see here too. They become these big places that they have all the services there. So the doctors have their offices and then the PT is right there. So it's just everything in-house. It becomes harder to get these referrals. So right. Absolutely. And now let's jump to the sales part. So that's another big challenge for PTs, because then if the doctor sends you the client sold out on doing PT. My doctor told me to, so I'll go, and that's it. But when you are building this relationship with the client, you have to sell physical therapy. So we don't learn this. We don't have these sales skills. So how do you think PTs should go about improving their sales skills, or how should they think? What should they do? Do you have any advices around that?
The one short answer to sales is, well, first of all, defining sales, it's basically just a conversation. So how can a conversation occur where one person has a problem or a challenge and the other person has the solution to that? And all sales is the person who has the solution has to communicate effectively, efficiently, communicate the value and the results, the end result of that solution to the person who has this problem or challenge. And the problem or challenge could be anything, sciatica, headaches, whatever. So it's not so much we're selling physical therapy. We're selling, we're having a conversation. We're selling the value of our service and focusing on the end result. So I don't want to be, if I have sciatica, I don't want to be sold soft tissue mobilization, spinal manipulative therapy, McKenzie. No offense.
The technique. They don't
exactly.
care. They don't know.
They don't care. And as much as let's just say McKenzie, because I did a few parts of McKenzie A and B. So no one's going to care about Robin McKenzie. No one cares, no one cares that it, how effective it is, even though it's good and it is effective. What they care about is just getting out of pain so they can live their life. They can go back to working remotely at home. They can pick up their kids and grandkids. They can sleep. They can walk on the beach. They can, lift their grandchildren up, whatever they want to do. That's what we need to focus on. So you got to find that out in the conversation. This conversation just happens to be labeled as sales. That's the conversation. It's just a conversation where we're saying like, hey, what's going on? Oh, you have this challenge or this problem or this pain. Tell me more about it, and going through that conversation. The thing that we're definitely not taught sales or the marketing in physical therapy school. But historically, if we're talking about traditional in-network physical therapy, where people are just calling up and asking, do you take my insurance? When you and I are charging people and charging more out of pocket, there has to be more of a conversation. Because if you just take my insurance and it's a $20 copay or a $50 copay or whatever, I don't really have many other questions. I don't really have any objections to paying the dollar amount that's on my insurance card. I have my insurance card. I know what I am obligated to pay to go see a physical therapist or even virtually. So the conversation just happens to be or needs to be different. And typically, in my opinion, a little bit longer, as opposed to transactional, where it's like, what insurance do you have? United Healthcare. What's the member ID? What's your date of birth? All right, let me look up your insurance information and we'll call you back. And then they call the patient back. And yeah, we accept your insurance. It's going to be a $35 copay for the visit. Are you available this day at this time or this day at this time? And you're going to be seen by this physical therapist, and that's it. Right? And then the person comes in. Versus you, Mariana, you're going to charge out of pocket for telehealth. That first phone call, that conversation cannot be that short. It has to be a little bit longer. It has to take into the account of, hey, what's going on? Here's how we could get you there. Here's what to expect on that first visit. Here's all these different valuable aspects that you're going to find and get out of this. And all these things, it's like you're stacking value first. You're building up this value of what you offer before you say, oh, by the way, I don't take your insurance and it's going to be $200. Because now the $200, I layered up all these, these benefits. You're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get an accurate diagnosis, you're going to get a customized home exercise program, you're going to get 1 hour one-on-one physical therapy, or in your case, I'm going to, with virtual, you're going to get 30 minutes or an hour or 45 minutes of a movement diagnostic screen, a posture check. You're going to get this. You're going to get this. I'm going to send you the customized home exercise program. I'm going to send you a text message tomorrow, 24 hours later, to check in with you. I'm going to send you whatever. So I stack up all this value. And then I say, oh, by the way, maybe I said before, I don't take your insurance. And here's why I don't take your insurance. Because I want to give you this. I want to provide this. I want to provide this. This whole thing, I believe, is the gold standard of care. This is what I want to provide for my patients. And I can't do it through in-network because the reimbursement has been continually decreased and slashed, and it doesn't cover my costs per visit. And in order to cover my cost per visit, and for you to get this, and this, and have this type of an outcome that's focusing on your goals, where you want to go, this is what I charge. How does that sound? So that's sales. I mean, I'm simplifying it. I'm trying to do it, just for this conversation of the podcast. But it's just a different conversation than what patients traditionally would have in the world of just, everyone takes insurance and it's just a copay per visit. And it's very, a little bit more transactional, and there's less objection over price because it's just the copay. Even though some people will say even the copay is expensive. But if you say $200 per visit, people are going to fall over unless you provide why. Here's what you get. And then if you say it over a phone call, Ron Miller and I will teach our mentees and other physical therapists across the country all the things that you just said, and the dollar value of, you get this, a posture check, evaluation screen, you get a joint assessment, a joint analysis, you get this, you get whatever, all this stuff. Then that needs to be sent via text message or an email after, because the person just heard all this stuff and they're like, I get all this stuff, but it's $200. Oh my God. But then you got to send a text message, you got to send an email or something with all that information to keep that conversation going in terms of the sales component, because they heard it and then you get a text message or an email. So now they see it. And if they need to think about it, if they need to speak to their spouse, if they're not sure, if they don't have the budget for it, you're going to send them that information so they can continue to think about what's the value proposition here and how what you're offering is much different than if they call around. And you should urge them to continue to call around. And the conversations when they call around will be much, much different than the conversation they just had with you. And that's how you can be looked at as different in a good way, that you stick out and like, wow, I spoke to the actual physical therapist, versus I called 5 other offices and I spoke with the front desk person, couldn't answer any of my questions. They didn't understand. They couldn't tell me anything about treatment. They couldn't tell me what a first visit looks like. They couldn't tell me what I actually get at the evaluation. They couldn't even tell me, do I even get hands-on treatment at the first visit, or is it just an evaluation? So then you can stick out differently. You can be come across as having much more value. And that's how you can differentiate yourself and charge something like $200 something a visit if you have all this whole other package. And you'll be completely set aside differently in a good, positive light compared to them calling around elsewhere.
And do you think when you are showing all this value that you're going to provide, do they have less objections to the do you take insurance question? So how do you think that, like, let's say in a lot of cases they see the value and they like go through, or still do you feel like even when you do that and you show everything you're going to do, they still have a lot of resistance with cash pay?
Some still will. Some still will have resistance and objections no matter what. The reason is because some people are truly not my ideal client.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I wish 100% of the people that called my business, I wish we did business with. I wish we could help them. I wish they would just agree to pay whatever we charge, and we could schedule them right away. 24 hours, 48 hours. We're going to have a physical therapist there at your house for an hour later today or tomorrow or the next day. I hate to say it, it's just the nature of business, it's just the nature of sales, but we are not going to be able to convince or convert 100% of people that come into our pipeline, whether they email you, text you, write in through your website, they heard about you through somewhere else, they saw you on social media. Of all the people that come into your world and are prospective patients, you're not going to be able to connect with or book or evaluate and schedule 100% of those people. It's just the way it is. So the answer is yes. There will always be someone that has an objection to price, or they don't see your value, the value stack, what you painted this, this is just normal physical therapy, everything I just described. But I'm marketing it, I'm packaging it in a way that's much more appealing to more people. It's not going to be appealing to everyone. No matter what, there's going to be some people that say, well, my insurance card says $35. Why would I pay $100 or $200 or $300 for this? I don't get it. Or I'm not looking to pay that much or whatever. And Mariana, I'm here in New York City. We've had millionaire clients that say it's too expensive. So it's not that they don't have the money. There's many reasons. Some people go on Amazon and they look up a product and they say, well, that's too expensive. And then they get off, they don't order it. It's just business. It's just the way it is. We cannot convert every single person. The importance of the first conversation, as we're labeling it as sales, that first conversation is where you're asking questions, you're actively listening, and you're able to identify by some of their answers and their tonality and your tonality. Obviously, you want to have a positive tonality and positive expression every single time you're speaking with a new prospective patient. But not everyone's the right fit. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and I think some people, doesn't matter how much money they have, because I already had clients that money was not the problem. I think some people, they just don't see the value on taking care of their health. Or that's not the thing is more important for them. They can go there and spend a lot of money in, I don't know, food, trips, whatever it is, but they're gonna be hurting, and they don't see the value on spending, investing on their health. So it's how people are. It's part of life. And so for the ones that I want to learn more about, like these skills or everything we just talked, because we know they don't teach us there. So do you have any suggestions, any recommendations of what PTs can do to improve their skills, their sales skills?
Really simple. Okay, you can write out on a piece of paper, write out all the common objections. I'll tell you what they are. I mentioned a few of them. In terms of, even if it's in network and it's a $50 copay, some people are even going to have an objection of that. But let's just say for the private pay, the cash-based world, wow, that's more than I thought it would be. I need to think about it. I need to sleep on it. I need to speak with my spouse about it. I don't have a job, or I don't have a budget for it right now. I was really looking to use my insurance. Using my insurance is important to me. I mean, all of those are kind of around the same thing, which is it really about money and price? Sometimes it is. Like if someone actually doesn't have a job and, you can't say, well, find the money. No, some people actually don't have the money. Sometimes someone is just fearful. They're fearful of making the wrong decision. The fear of loss. They don't want to make the wrong decision and pay you out of pocket and then it not work. And then they look like an idiot to themselves. They feel like an idiot, or they feel like they wasted time and money and effort. But most of the time, it's uncertainty, meaning it's kind of mixed in with the other two. They're uncertain. First of all, Mariana, how many visits is it going to be? Well, we don't know. We don't know, Mr. Patient, until we do the evaluation. I don't know if it's going to be once a week. I don't know if it's going to be, twice a week and then wean down to once a week. We don't know. So physical therapy is not like some cookie cutter thing where it's like 8 visits for every single diagnosis, no matter what physical therapist you see. It's just not structured like that. So there's uncertainty in what is physical therapy. If someone had physical therapy in the past and had a bad experience, forget it. It's going to be hard to convert that person. Do they not believe in themselves enough to actually do the home exercise program, to be committed, like you said, to be invested in their health and wellness? We know we're going to bring our A game. We're going to be invested in their health and wellness, no matter what, whether it's in person, we go to the home, for you, virtual, telehealth, we are going to bring our A game. But that person has to own up to their side of the bargain, and that's not for everybody. So there's a lot of uncertainty. What is physical therapy? How can it help me? What are you going to do? Is it hands-on? Is it machines? Is it modalities? What do you do? You know, virtual, how could that help me? Like, there's a lot of uncertainty in what we do. So those are some of the biggest challenges. Now, you asked, how can you get better? Sorry, so I got off track. Get a piece of paper, write down those objections. Write down those objections. I want to think about it. I need to speak with my spouse first before I pay you $200 a visit. I'm not sure if I have the money for this. I'm going to call around. I'm going to call around other places. Write those out, and you put that in front of your husband, and then have him say that out loud. So, you know, he says, I want to think about it. And you need to practice a response that is professional, crisp, appropriate, and keeps the conversation going. Because if a patient says, I want to think about it, and then most physical therapists say, oh, okay, and then they just hang up, like, okay, I'll let me know. And then they end the phone call. The phone call is over. If there's a professional, crisp, efficient response that you can give me, and it's not necessarily have to be salesy, but it's just, you know, hey, Mariana, I know you want to think about it, and I know thinking about it is important to you. That makes a lot of sense. I think about anything, anytime I'm going to make a purchase decision, I want to think about it too. You know, how long do you think you need to think about it? Do you need 3 days or do you need 3 weeks? And then you might say, I don't know, 3 days. Okay, cool. How about I follow up with you in 3 days, and I'll just touch base with you in regards to your situation. See if you found the right fit somewhere else. See if you were able to schedule somewhere else, or if you were able to get this resolved or get this started, your issue. Okay, that's cool. Check in with me in 3 days. Okay, Mariana, what's the best way? What's your preferred way for me to check in with you in 3 days? Text message, phone call, email, you know, you pick one, and then I'll follow up that way. So I just got your permission to follow up with you in a couple of days. And I kept the conversation going instead of like, oh, okay, yeah, let me know. Take care, bye. So you want to write out all those common objections. I want to think about it. I want to sleep on it. I want to, you know, I don't know if I have the money for it. I got to call around other places. Write those up, write those on a piece of paper. Have someone else say those to you out loud. And then you need to type out a response or verbalize a response for each of those common objections. And that is how you practice. It's kind of like role playing. You can do this role playing with, you know, your husband or spouse or partner or anyone. So you can do that role play out loud, and you should get used to getting on a phone call with a prospective patient and expect those to be coming. Then over time, you get more comfortable and confident in your response. When the patient hears that, they're trying to throw you a speed bump. They're trying to like slow it down. They don't know if they want to commit to you yet. It's a little pricey, and they don't know if you're worth it. They don't know if you can really help them. So they're trying to slow the conversation down. That's why a lot of people will give objections. They're like, oh, this is a little too fast. You know, I'm just kind of searching around. I'm just kind of calling around. I'm not sure if I want to commit to anyone yet. So I'm trying to slow down the conversation as the consumer. I want to slow it down. But when you give me a crisp, professional, efficient response back from my objection, I'm going to look at you as like, wow, okay, this person has some credibility, some authority, they're professional, they're legit. And then you can keep that conversation going. And then maybe they give you another one, and then you're already ready for the next objection, whatever it might be. And the more you can confidently practice those and confidently re-perform those on an actual phone call or a telehealth visit or something. Maybe you do discovery visits where the first one is a discount or free, it's just discovery visit or virtual, and you could practice those. You could practice those with those people, and they will see that you are confident and that you're a consummate professional, meaning you've gone through this before. You know, you're not, this is not the first time you've heard this objection. It's not the last time. and you're just used to it, and you just, you absorb it, or you deflect, or you respond to the objection, and then you keep the conversation going, still focused on that person, what they want, what they're looking for, their goals, their results, not the physical therapy strategy, not the price. You're deflecting it back to their health and wellness.
Perfect. Now it's just practice then. You got to practice, say it out loud, and get comfortable with that too, because I think it's pretty obvious when you're not comfortable about it, then the way you respond, your answer to the person, probably can feel it. So the more confident you are, the better, right?
Right. Now, side note, how many podcast episodes have you done, Mariana? Here, I'll just give an analogy. Do you know the number?
40 something. This is, I don't know, 43, 44, something like that.
Okay, so you're in the 40s, and how much better would you, as a self-assessment, how much better would you say that you are now versus the first or second one?
Oh, so nervous on the first one. Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I don't see any nervousness. We're having a conversation. We're just chatting. We just happen to be recording this, and you're going to happen to disseminate this out. But this is just like, we're just chatting, right?
Yeah.
So the same type of thing with the sales conversations. You just need repetitions, and you will get better. And the only way to get repetitions is to be speaking with more people. And the only way to do that is to focus on the marketing and getting more people into your world, getting to know you, just conversations with people.
Yeah. With time, the more exposed, the better you get. So it's just, there's
Right.
no way to learn. You just got to put yourself out there and go for it and get better over
Right.
time. Awesome. So let's transition to our final questions. Do you have any resource of information that you would like to share with us, like any book or any articles, papers, anything that you would like to share?
Absolutely. I'm just loading up my Audible right now. I think Audible or podcasts or reading, obviously reading books. Audible, Apple iTunes podcasts, and YouTube are just great resources of people that are bigger, better, smarter, are more accomplished than me, are speaking and are communicating what has helped them in the past, what have they done, their challenges, how they overcame those challenges, whether that's like documentaries or whether it's interviews or if it's actual books. So the book Pitch Anything, it's a little bit more about like raising money, and it's a little bit more about like interacting with investors, but there's a lot of good sales nuggets in that. And it has to do with commanding nicely, professionally, commanding the interaction, meaning, and the conversation. So like when you speak to a prospective patient. So book Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff was awesome. Excellent. A book called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Excellent book. I listened to it on Audible. Many of these books I've listened to 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He was an ex-CIA hostage negotiator, and he gives tactics and strategies on tonality, communicating, word choice, different degrees of communicating. When I say tonality, like volume and tone and changing the tone, so all these little nuances help with communicating and having that conversation that, again, we're labeling as sales. Sales is not a bad word, but Never Split the Difference. What else is on here? Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson is a great one. The Closer Survival Guide by Grant Cardone is a great one. These are all on Audible, by the way. The book Influence by Robert Cialdini, excellent. Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. So that's a little bit more on the marketing side, gentle influence, persuasion. But I think, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to do anything manipulative. We are trying to help people. We're not selling them, we're not selling them car tires that actually don't work, that are going to fall apart when they drive away, right? We are trying to help people with their health and wellness. We're trying to help them move better. The vehicle for that is hands-on physical therapy and whatever, strength and programming and strength conditioning, whatever types of ways that we want to go about that. There was one more. To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink is a great book. And these are all on my Audible. Some of these I've listened to recently. Some of them, it's been years since I listened to them, but those are great. And then anything on iTunes. So I'll listen to Sold with Webinars by Joel Urway. I listen to Billie Jean. Billie Jean is Marketing Offends the Internet. That one's a good one. Masters of Scale by Reid Hoffman. He founded LinkedIn. So there's a ton of content. I would suggest getting obsessed. If you're obsessed with marketing, you're going to win. You're going to make $100,000 a year or more. You have to be obsessed with marketing. And if you're not, you're going to close your business down. You're not going to be successful as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. That is the brutal truth. And if you want to be, or if you want to be in control of your schedule, if you want to be in control of your income, if you want to be in control of taking a day off whenever you want, entrepreneurship is the way to do it. It's not for everybody, but if you're obsessed with marketing and if you improve your sales game a little bit, you can help more people in your community. You can do it on your own terms, meaning you could see them for 30 minutes. You could see them for 45, 60 minutes. You could do it virtually like you, Mariana. You could do whatever you want. I think physical therapy is a great profession. It allows us to help a lot of people. We do it in a way that is fulfilling and rewarding. And the way to do it on your own is you have to be obsessed with marketing. If you interview anyone else on this podcast, and if they are a business owner that disagrees with that, I'll be interested as to why. Like what else are they obsessed with? What are they obsessed with? They got to be focused and obsessed with something. And if it's not that, I would be really curious to know what it is.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter how good of a PT you are or how good you are at your skills. If you don't have the patients to treat, they have to find you somewhere, somehow.
Exactly.
So
that reminds me, the most successful physical therapists that are in the country, I'm bigger than me. I'm just saying, like, bigger than my company, and they're not the best skilled. They don't have the most CEUs. They're not the best at Mulligan techniques. They're not the best at McKenzie. They're not the best. They don't have the best outcomes. They don't have the fastest outcomes or the best results. They're the ones that are known the most, meaning they have the awareness. People talk about them. People know their brand or their office or their company, or they're just the most known. So here's what I mean. In New York City, we have this in-home physical therapy company, right? And people will, through our Google ads or just from online reputation, people will call us and we'll see them. And we have 2 or 3 active patients right now where they have a physical therapy office on their block. On their block. They could walk outside, go to the corner, there's a physical therapy office. Instead, they pay 2, 3, 4 times as much to have a physical therapist come to them. And they're able-bodied. They're not homebound. They're like you and me, or maybe they're in their 40s or 50s, or maybe in their 60s or whatever, but they're not in a wheelchair. They're not in a hospital bed in their apartment. They're able to go out and they could go to that office. I'm serious. We have 2 or 3 patients right now that have a physical therapy office either on their street or on their physical block of New York City. And they decided to do business with us. Why? Because we've done more in terms of getting in front of them in some form or fashion. So whether it's word of mouth, someone told them about us, they called us, they Googled and they clicked on our Google ad, or they found us on Google and they liked our Google reviews, or they liked our website, or they liked the first phone call. And we don't even ask them like, hey, did you call the place down the street? Like, I don't want to bring awareness to that other place because I'm in the business of awareness for us. But there's physical therapy offices. My wife is treating someone in Manhattan, and she says, this guy has a physical therapy office across the street. Looking outside of his apartment window, you could see the office. And that's because we had some form of awareness more than that company. Now that company might be bigger, has a big office, whatever. Maybe it's been established more in terms of longer, but we got this person into our ecosystem, into our world some way. For us, it just happens to be mostly it's through Google ads, but you got to be obsessed with the marketing. And going back to the free or the paid, So hopefully that has helped in terms of providing value to the audience.
It just shows the power of marketing. I mean, what else do you want? Like if you're doing things right and doing a good job on marketing, like that's crazy how they're not gonna go, you know, it just blows my mind when I think about it, because when we are in college, you just think about, I want to do this course and that course, and I want to be really good at these. I want to solve all the cases, and you are like all obsessed about that. And then you go to the real world, you find out that it's not all. It doesn't matter how good you are. You got to be good at marketing or have someone that's good at marketing if you're going to go on your own. And have your own business, as you said, and have the flexibility and all of that. So I think it's just crazy. So what would be advice that you would give to the clinicians that are starting their careers?
Be obsessed with marketing.
That was an easy one, huh?
That's it. It's the name of the game.
Yeah. I'm starting to agree more and more with that. And then, what do you think it's important to become a successful, what qualities and abilities are important to become a successful physical therapist?
I think it helps to be an extrovert, but you can still be successful being an introvert. And you don't have to be a classical extrovert, but you have to be gregarious. You have to be able to start conversations and walk up to people and meet them. And you have to be confident but also be able to be adaptable to trial and error. So you try some stuff and it doesn't work, and you say, okay, no problem. And then I go to the next thing. So it could be, let's say if a physical therapist was going to do seminars and workshops and all of that, and they start going around to yoga studios, Pilates studios, running shoe store owners, trying to get into one of these facilities to do a free workshop, community talk, community event, seminar, whatever. Get ready for some rejection. Like that's also, we're not educated on that, but that's business. So you got to get used to having people say no to you. The amount of people that have said no to us, I don't know, it's probably hundreds or maybe thousands of people that have heard what we do and said, oh, it's too expensive, or I need to think about it, or stop answering our phone calls and don't call us back and don't answer our texts or emails or whatever if we're just trying to reach out to them. So we have to be okay with being rejected, or by people saying no, or you're too expensive, or I don't believe you, or you're not the right fit for me, or whatever. It's okay. The more you can get comfortable with rejection, also the faster you're going to get to having whatever form of success you're looking for, which is just whether it's financial success, that time freedom, controlling your life, your schedule. The more that you can get through a lot of this rejection, the better. So it's going to be people saying no to you. It's going to be I play on a weekend baseball team here in New York City, and it's like a pickup baseball league. So it's like an email list, and it's like maybe 40 or so guys, right? And these guys don't stretch. They don't really exercise that much, so they're always getting hurt. And I've treated a bunch of them, but not all of them. What I mean by that, so a lot of them have gone to in-network offices. They don't even call me. They don't even text me. They don't even tell me they're injured, whatever. And these are guys I've known for 6 years. And we're all kind of in this group of guys, and I don't get upset with that. Even though some of them are like, oh, I went here, oh, I went there, or they don't even tell me. I hear them talking to someone else. Oh, I went to Spear Physical Therapy. I went to Professional Physical Therapy. I went to these other offices, whatever. I don't get mad. I don't get upset. It's just business. It's just the way it is. Maybe they wanted to go somewhere that was closer to them. They didn't want in-home physical therapy, whatever. Or they didn't want to pay more, whatever. Right? So just get over some rejection. Get used to it. It's part of business.
And knowing that's not personal, probably. There are so many reasons, and we take a lot of times personally. So
right.
No, that's not about you. It's about something else that's going on with them most of the times, not particularly you. So
exactly.
Yeah, awesome. So Dave, if people want learn more about you or get in touch with you or learn about more about this topic, how they can contact you?
Sure. So we're hiring. Go to conciergepainrelief.com if you are in the New York City area, if you're a physical therapist. If you want to make $80 to $100 per visit, conciergepainrelief.com. Or you can email me, dave@conciergepainrelief.com. And then if you are a physical therapist who's looking to either learn through some of our courses or potentially in the future look at what we offer in terms of programs and mastermind and coaching and stuff, you guys can go to cashbasedphysicaltherapy.org. And we have a bunch of free resources and free videos on YouTube. So you can type in cash-based physical therapy on YouTube, and we have a channel with a whole bunch of free videos. There's a sales role play video that I did with one of our members on there. That's free. Feel free to reach out either way. And I appreciate your time, Mariana, and having me on here. And yeah, that's those ways. LinkedIn, if you want to connect with me there, Facebook, whatever. But I appreciate your time, Mariana. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So I'll put everything on the show notes. People can check it out, everything there, and get in touch if they want to. And I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with us all your tips and this knowledge about marketing and sales and sharing your experience. I really appreciate.
You're welcome. Thank you.